Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to learn about the inspiring life of a great saint from Kerala, India, Saint Mariam Thresia Chiramel Mankidian. She was a woman of deep faith, prayer, compassion and service. She dedicated her life to God and spent much of her time helping poor families, sick people, children and those who were suffering. Her life teaches us that holiness is not only about prayer, it is about loving others, helping those in need, forgiving people, and bringing hope to families who are going through difficult times. Saint Mariam Thresia was born in Kerala in 1876 and died in 1926. She founded the Congregation of the Holy Family, an institution that continues her mission of serving families and helping people in need. So let us begin the beautiful story of Saint Mariam Thresia Chiramel. Her earlier life. Saint Mariam Thresia Chiramel was born on 26th April 1876 in Puttanchira in present-day Kerala, India. Her parents were Thoma and Thanda Chiramel Mankidian. She was the third child in the family of five children. Her family had once been wealthy, but over the years the family experienced financial difficulties. Even though her family faced many problems, Mariam Thresia grew up with a strong faith in God. Her mother played an important role in teaching her about prayer and Christian life. From a very young age, Mariam Thresia had a deep love for Jesus. She wanted to dedicate her entire life to Jesus, to God. She was especially attracted to prayer, silence, and helping people who were suffering. Her spiritual life was very serious from childhood. She wanted to live according to the teachings of Jesus and become closer to God. At only 12 years old, Mariam Thresia experienced the loss of her mother. Her formal education also ended around this time. This was a difficult moment in her life, but it did not take away her desire to follow God. Instead, she became even more determined to discover what God wanted her to do with her life. A young girl with a strong calling. As a young girl, Mariam Thresia wanted to live a life completely dedicated to God. She once dreamed of living a quiet life of prayer away from the world. But God had another plan for her. Instead of remaining completely separated from the society, she began to notice the suffering of people around her. She saw families struggling with poverty. She saw sick people who needed care. She was lonely people who needed someone to speak with them. She saw children who needed love and protection. Mariam Thresia understood that prayer should lead to love and service. She therefore began visiting families and helping people who were suffering. She did not ask whether someone was rich or poor. She did not make a distinction based on social background. Her desire was simply to serve people with love. She and a few companions began visiting families in need. At that time, this was unusual for young women in her community. But Mariam Thresia continued because she believed that serving people was a part of serving Jesus. Her love for poor and sick. One of the most important parts of Saint Mariam Theresia's life was her love for people who were suffering. She visited sick people and cared for those who were often neglected by others. Some illness were frightening to people at that time, and families sometimes struggled to care for their sick relatives. Mariam Thresia was willing to go to these homes and offer help. She comforted people who were lonely. She cared for the sick. She helped poor families. She also cared for children who had lost their parents. Her life reminds us that every human being deserves dignity, kindness, and compassion. She did not serve people because she wanted recognition. She served because she believed that every person was loved by God. This is one of the most strongest message we can learn from her life. Sometimes we think that doing something great means becoming famous or successful. But Saint Mariam Thresia showed that even simple acts of kindness can become great and when they are done with love. Prayer and service. Saint Mariam Theresia's life had two important parts, prayer and service. She spent time in prayer and tried to remain close to God. At the same time, she went out to help people. She understood that prayer and action should go together. If we pray for people but never try to help them, our prayer may remain only words. Mariam Thresia tried to turn her faith into action. She prayed for people who were suffering. She encouraged people who had lost hope. She visited families, she cared for the sick, she helped the children, and she encouraged people to return to God. Her life was therefore not simple a life of prayer. It was life of prayer that became service. Her companions. Mariam Thresia was not alone in her mission. She had companions who shared her desire for prayer and service. Together, they visited families and helped people in need. Their work was not always understood by everyone. Some people questioned why these young women are going from place to place helping families. But Mariam Thresia continued with courage. She believed that God had given her a mission. She placed her trust in Jesus, Mary, and Saint Joseph, the Holy Family. The example of the Holy Family became very important in her life. She wanted families to experience love, unity, faith, and hope. Difficulties and spiritual trials. The life of Saint Mariam Thresia was not always easy. She experienced many difficulties and misunderstandings. Some people did not understand her spiritual experiences. She also went through serious spiritual struggles. Because of unusual experience in her spiritual life, church authorities carefully examined her situation. During some years, she was subjected to exorcism under church authority. Mariam Thresia accepted these difficult experiences with humility and obedience. Her life teaches us an important lesson here. Following God does not mean that life is always be easy. Sometimes a person can experience difficulties, misunderstandings, disappointment, or loneliness. Faith means continuing to trust God even during difficult moments. Mariam Thresia tried to remain faithful through these experiences. Her spiritual director, Father Joseph Vithayatil, became an important guide in her life. She trusted his spiritual advice and guidance. Their cooperation later became very important in the development of her religious congregation. The beginning of a new congregation, Mariam Thresia wanted to establish a place where she and her companions could live a life of prayer while continuing their mission of helping families. Eventually, in 1913, she received a permission to establish a prayer house. She and her companions began living there. They continued their prayer and service to people. The bishop gradually recognized that their work would become the beginning of a new religious congregation. On May 1914, the Congregation of the Holy Family was officially established. Mariam Thresia made her perpetual religious profession and became the first member and superior of the new congregation. The congregation was dedicated especially to serving families and helping people through education, charity, and spiritual care. This was a major moment in her life. What had started as a small group of women praying and helping families became a religious congregation with a lasting mission. Her work for families. Family was very important to Saint Mariam Thresia. She understood that strong families are important for a strong society. She saw the problems that families experienced. Some families were poor, some had children who needed education, some people were weak. Some families experienced loneliness and difficulties. Mariam Thresia wanted to bring faith, love, and support into these situations. Her congregation therefore became involved in education and caring for children and family. She believed that helping a family could change the lives of many people. A child who receives education can have a better future. A sick person who receives care can regain hope. A struggling family can receive support can find strength. This was the kind of service Mariam Thresia wanted to encourage. Schools, convent, and orphan care. Although Saint Mariam Thresia lived only until the age of 50, she accomplished a great deal. Under her leadership, the congregation established convents, schools, hostel, a study house, and an orphanage. These works were especially important during the time where many people had limited opportunities for education and social support. She believed that educating girls was particularly important. Education could give young people knowledge, confidence, and better opportunities in life. Her work therefore went beyond helping people for one day. She wanted to create institutions that would contain helping people for many years. This is an important lesson from her life. When we help someone, we can ask not only how can I help today, we can also ask how can I create a better future? How can I help create a better future? Saint Mariam Thresia tried to do exactly that. Her humility. Despite everything she accomplished, Mariam Thresia remained humble. She did not seek fame. She wanted people to focus on God rather than on herself. Her life was centered on prayer, obedience, sacrifice, and her service. She understood that leadership was not about power, leadership meant serving others. This is a beautiful lesson for all of us. Whether we are students, parents, teachers, workers, or leaders, we can make a difference when we serve others with humility. We do not always need to do something extraordinary. Sometimes a kind word can make a difference. Helping a classmate, caring for a family member, visiting someone who is lonely, or simply listening to someone who is struggling can be an act of love. Her final years. Saint Mariam Thresia continued her mission despite difficulties. She worked very hard for the growth of the congregation of the Holy Family. She wanted the sisters to remain faithful to prayer and service. Her health eventually became weaker. She died on 8th June 1926 at the age of 50 after suffering from a wound on her leg. Although her earthly life had ended, her mission did not end. The congregation continued to grow. Her example continued to inspire many people. Her devotion to God and her love for families became a lasting part of the mission of the congregation of the Holy Family. The road to sainthood. After her death, people continue to remember Mariam Thresia for her holiness and service. The church carefully studied her life, her virtues, and reports of miracles attributed to her intercession. In 1999, she was recognized as venerable. She was beatified by Pope John Paul II on 9th April 2000 in Rome. The journey did not end there. In 2019, Pope Francis authorized the degree concerning the miracle attributed to her intercession. Then on 13th October 2019, Pope Francis celebrated the canonization of Mariam Thresia Chiramel along with four other blessed. She officially became Saint Mariam Thresia Chiramel. Her canonization was a joyful moment not only for Kerala and India but also for Catholics around the world. Why Saint Mariam Thresia is important today? Saint Mariam Thresia lived more than 100 years ago, but her message is still meaningful today. Our world has changed greatly. We have modern technology, smartphones, computers, and social media, but people still experience loneliness. Families still face difficulties. People still become sick. Children need education and care. Many people need someone to listen to them. That is why the example of Saint Mariam Thresia remains important. She reminds us that love is shown through action. She teaches us to care for people. She teaches us to respect every people. She teaches us to pray for others. And she teaches us that our faith should inspire us to serve. 5 lessons from Saint Mariam. Let us now look at the 5 simple lessons we can learn from her life. First, keep God at the center of your life. Saint Mariam Thresia had a deep desire to remain close to God. Her prayer life gave her strength for her mission. We too can make time for prayer and reflection in our daily lives. Even a quiet moments can help us remember what is truly important. Second, help those who need you. Mariam Thresia did not ignore suffering. She went to people who needed help. We can follow her example in simple ways. We can help someone who is struggling with studies. We can support a friend. We can help our parents at home. We can show kindness to someone who feels lonely. Small act of kindness can have a big impact. Third, respect every person. Mariam Thresia served people without making distinction based on caste or social position. Her example reminds us that every human being deserves dignity and respect. We should never judge someone simply because they are poor, different, or facing difficulties. Fourth, do not give up during difficult times. Mariam Thresia experienced many difficulties and misunderstandings, but she continued her mission. When we face challenges, we can learn from her courage. Difficult moments do not have to stop us from doing what is right. Fifth, let your fame become action. Perhaps this is one of the most important lessons of all. Saint Mariam Thresia did not keep her faith only inside the church. She carried her faith to homes, hospitals, schools, families, and communities. She showed love through action. That is something each one of us can try to do. A message for families. Saint Mariam Thresia had a special concern for families. Her life reminds us that families need love, patience, understanding, and forgiveness. Every family has happy moments, but every family can also experience disagreements and difficult times. Instead of allowing anger to divide us, we can try to listen to one another. We can say sorry when we make mistakes. We can forgive. We can pray together. We can support one another. A peaceful family does not mean a family without problems. It means a family that tries to face problem with love and unity. This is one of the beautiful messages we can take from the life of Saint Mariam Thresia. Her continuing legacy, Saint Mariam Thresia's mission continues through Congregation of Holy Family. The congregation carries forward the spirit of its founder through prayer, education, service, and care for people. Her life began in a small village in Kerala. She was not born in a powerful position. She did not have modern technology or the opportunity that many people have today. Yet, through faith, courage, and service, her life touched many people. Her story reminds us that one person who sincerely chooses love and service can make a lasting difference. Final reflection. As we come towards the end of this video, let us take a moment to remember the life of Saint Mariam Thresia. She was a young girl who developed a deep love for God. She became a woman who cared for the poor and sick. She supported families. She helped the children. She founded a religious congregation. She experienced difficulties but continued to trust God. And finally, she was recognized by the Catholic Church as a saint. Her life gives us a simple message: love God, love people, serve those in need, and never lose hope. We not be able to do great things every day, but we can do small things with great love. We can speak kindly, we can forgive, we can help, we can listen, we can pray, and we can bring up hope to someone who needs it. That is one of the beautiful ways we can continue the spirit of Saint Mariam Thresia in our own lives. So thank you so much for watching this video about the inspiring life of Saint Mariam Thresia. I hope this story that helped you learn more about her faith, her love for families, and her dedication to serving people in need. If you enjoyed this video, please like the video, subscribe to my channel, and share it with your family and friends. Your support helps me continue creating videos about saints, churches, Christian history, faith, and inspiring stories. If you have a favorite saint or an inspiring Christian place that you would like me to cover in a future video, you can mention it in comments. Let us remember the beautiful example of Saint Mariam Thresia. Pray with faith, serve with love, and live with hope. May Saint Mariam Thresia pray for us and guide us to become kinder, more loving, and more helpful to others. Thank you for watching, and God bless you and your family. See you in the next video. God is one, God is love, and God bless you all.